entire series. We have talked about C programming language and its benefits. We have talked that why C is still popular language even after its invention of 50 years over some of the modern programming languages. We have seen the benefits of C. So in this video, I'm going to make it further by telling you about the course content, that how C programming is being taught as part of GTU syllabus. So in GTU, this subject is known as Programming for Problem Solving. In short, you can call it PPS. This subject is having subject code 3110003. That is indeed needed, or you have to write it during your GTU exam. So you need to remember that. Thereafter, you need to know the credit of this subject. You can say the weightage of this subject. So credit of this subject is 4. That means each week you are going to have 3 lectures of 1 hour. In addition with this, you have to attend the lab of 2 hours, 1 lab per week. So this is how you are going to study this subject. And this subject is basically combination of programming as well as its theory. So we are going to perform program and simultaneously we are going to know and aware about the theories associated with that program. In this video lecture, I am going to tell you or teach you each of this parallelly. So first, let me introduce you with the chapters, that how many chapters we are having and what will be the flow of this chapter. So shall we begin? Let's go. So as you can see, you are going to study this 10 chapters. These 10 chapters are arranged in such a way that in first 2 chapters you are going to get some introductory part. As you can see, the name of first chapter, it is Introduction of Computers and Programming. So basically, some of you might be aware about these things because we have already studied this from the primary to high school. We are going to get some knowledge about the block diagram of computers. We are going to get some knowledge about the components of computer, all the input device, output device and all that. We are just going to recap that. I don't want to tell you that you are going to take knowledge, but you can just recap that. Then after, we are going to talk about hardwares and softwares and the operating system or the system software which are going to be used as the connection between hardware and software. Then after, we are going to talk about the types of computer languages. By means of computer languages, I don't want to say Java, Python, C# or C++ or any other programming language. These computer languages are layered languages, like whatever the machine can understand, whatever language the human can understand, and whatever the intermediate between them. We are going to study all of these languages in detail. I am also going to state the benefits, that is the advantages and disadvantages of these languages. Then after, we are going to take some insight about compilers, interpreter, assembler, linker, loaders, etc. These are basically system software, and some of you might not aware about this because it is not the terms for the name users to the computer. So we are going to see which programming language are going to use compiler, which programming language are going to use interpreter, and what is the difference between interpreter and compiler. We are going to state that what are the working of other system softwares like linker, loader, assembler and all of that. Then after, we are going to talk about algorithms and flowcharts. Algorithm and flowchart, in higher semester you are going to study a subject algorithm, and it is one of the most important subject for the computer science student, whether it is computer engineering or IT engineering, or even if you want to go for specialization. And this is very basic part of algorithm. We are going to perform practicals. Based on the practicals, we are going to write an algorithm for that practical, and you are going to draw the flow chart. What is the flow chart? What is the algorithm? We are going to talk about that in detail in the video of that particular chapter. So this is all about the first chapter. It is basically introductory part. You can just fast forward it if you well aware about these things. But make sure that you go through the entire series so that the link is not broken. Then after, as you can see in the title of second chapter, it is Fundamentals of C Programming. In this chapter, we are going to talk about the history of C. Then after, not only the history of C, but we are going to talk about some fundamental things of any programming language. These fundamental things are not only associated with C or related to with C, but it is also very useful if you are going to study other programming languages. The programming language like Java, Python, C++, C#, or Ruby or Perl or anything. These languages are using these concepts, maybe in some different syntax. For some of that, even the syntax is same. So, this is not only related to C, but also it is the general overview of programming language. In this chapter, we are going to talk about variables, operators, constants. We are going to talk about expressions. We are going to talk about the associativity and precedence. Then after, we are going to talk about the type conversions and how it is going to be used in our program. We are also going to talk about C tokens and one of the most important thing of any programming language, that is data types. C tokens consist of keywords, identifier and all of this. See, even if you are not really understand whatever I am talking, the meaning of each of this word will be conveyed in the respective videos. But make sure that you go through these basics, because if your basics are solid, you can go further for any programming language. Now, in this chapter, we are going to take some insight about the C program structure. We are going to see that how C program is going to be worked when we are writing a code and then executing it for the output. These all things we are going to study in this chapter. We are going to study the important subject data types. As I have already mentioned, data types is one of the most important topic. Why? Because each of the programming language consists of it. See, if I just tell you some random example that a layman can also understand data type, then I can say you can have so many numbers, you can have alphabets, you can have symbols. By numbers can be fractional, or number can be whole number. So you may have integer number or the float numbers. So numbers also divided in the parts. So whenever I am entering data to computer, I have to tell computer that what kind of data I am entering. That is called data type, and we are going to study that in detail. Don't worry about that. These all things we are going to study in this chapter. So if you are well aware about the terms of this chapter, then you can easily write a program and you will not make any mistakes or error in the program. We are going to talk about how to manage input-output, how we can take input from user, how we can get output from computer and print it on the screen. We are going to talk about all of these things in this chapter. So this chapter is really very important in terms of programming. If you are very new to programming, just make sure that you go through all the videos in detail. Now, as it is in the title of third chapter, that is control structures. Now, what do I mean by control structures? And what we are going to study in this chapter? Control structure consists of, or can be divided into three parts. First part is all about decision making statements. Now what do I mean by decision making statements? Suppose I am telling you that I am going to print that the student is passed in the exam on the screen. Do you really think that I need to print it for every student, or I print it for every student? No, I am not printing it for all. I will print it for those students only who have passed exam based on some kind of predefined threshold. Say, for the 100 marks of paper, I am going to print that the student is passed only if the obtained mark of student is greater than 23. So 23 is my predefined threshold, and I am going to compare the marks of student with 23. If it is greater than or equal to 23, then the student is passed, otherwise student is failed. So this is all about decision making statements. I am going to print something, or I am going to do, or I am going to execute some kind of code only if particular decision is true or particular condition is true. Otherwise, I am not going to do that. So this is just a random example that a layman can also understand that what exactly the decision making statements are. Now we have so many kind of decision making statements such as if else, else if, switch, nested if, etc. And this kind of decision making statement are where they are used. I am going to talk about each of these cases in detail in the particular video of that chapter. The second part is all about looping structures. Now what exactly do you mean by loop? Loop is very general term, right? You can just imagine some kind of infinite thing. Loop is having something that is going to be repeated. So if I am telling you to print hello 100 times or say 1 lakh times, even a naive person can understand that for writing or printing something on screen, I'll need same code. So I'll need to write same code for the 100 times or lakhs of times. Do you really think it is an efficient code? No, it is the worst code. You need to optimize your code. You need to make it efficient. You need to reduce the length of code. And you can do it with the help of loops. We are having so many types of loops. And I am going to explain with example that which loop is to be used in which cases and how you can use loop. What will be the code and syntax of the loops. This all about looping will be done in this chapter. Then after, the last but not the least, the third part is all about branch or jump statements. Now you may tell that what are these branch statements, jump statements. You are going to learn about break, continue and go to statements. And whatever you are going to learn is very small part of programming. But when you are going to be in higher semester, you are going to learn a subject named COA. That stands for Computer Organization and Architecture. In that subject, you will actually see that what is going to be happen that when you are using this kind of statements. So this is the solid base of that subject. So make sure that you understand these concepts very properly and you know that how to use them in your program. So this is all about the third chapter. Now, as you can see the title of fourth chapter, that is arrays and strings. Now this is very interesting topic. Why? Because I have already told you that, see, if I give you an example that what is an array, then I can tell you that it is the collection of elements, collection of something. And we are going to go deeper in that particular video, but right now I am just giving you an overview, just a random example that a layman can understand. So suppose you want integer numbers, like tens or fifties or hundreds of integer numbers, whole numbers. Suppose you want float numbers, that are the fractional numbers, collection of them, buckets. Suppose you want collection of characters. Say my name is Komal and my name consists of character K-O-M-A-L. That is called collection. At the same time, I'm using the collection. That kind of collection is called array. Being in an engineering field, you must be aware about matrices. We have done so many basic operation of matrices, that addition, multiplication, division and all of that things. How you can perform these operations using programming language, you can use this or you can done this with the help of arrays. Arrays are having basically two types. single dimensional, multi-dimensional, all of that things, and we are going to study it in detail in this chapter. Now, string is a part of an array. So, as I told you that array is a collection of integer or float or any other data type, string is a collection of character only. So that is what will be the difference between arrays and strings. I'm going to explain with an example. Now, in this chapter, you are going to talk about inbuilt functions. Now, what are inbuilt functions of strings and how you can manipulate strings using this inbuilt function, and how you can, even if you are not having this kind of function, then how you can implement that task on strings. We are going to study about all of them with the help of practicals. So, till now, whatever I have explained was the MSc 1 syllabus. That is the mid-semester exam 1 syllabus. So, in mid-semester exam, you need to study all of these things. And whatever we are going to study after MSc 1 is also based on whatever you have studied till MSc 1. So make sure that before going further, the concept of all of these topics or all of these chapters are clear in your mind. If you have any doubt, I am repeating this self that you can just ask me the question in the comment below the comment section. Now I am going to explain about MSc 2 syllabus. As you can see the title over here, functions. Now, as I have already told you in loop that the optimization of code and the efficiency of code matters a lot. You need to write a code in such a way that low memory is occupied or low computation power is occupied. And that's why we are using functions. What is the function? What will be the type of functions? What are the benefits of functions? We all are going to study this in detail in the chapter, in the video of that chapter. How you can define your own function to create some particular task, to perform some particular task. And see, function is the general term. Even if you are studying Java, even if you are studying Python, even if you are studying C++, you are going to use functions. The only difference is the syntax, but the concept will be same. So make sure that from this chapter, the basics of the other previous chapters are clear in your mind, because we are going to use arrays, strings, variables, fundamentals, all of that things in this chapter. This is all about functions. Now, the next chapter is the recursion, and same as the function, recursion is like, kind of function. It is a part of function, but some special part. Some special type of function. And I'm going to give you one amazing example that Google have given you to understand recursion. What is the recursion? Benefits, disadvantages of recursion. What are the programs that we can implement using recursion? And what will be the, how you can increase the efficiency by using recursion. I'm going to talk about all of this with an example. Then after, as you can see in the chapter name, that is pointers. Now, if I give overview about this concept, then I can say that we all live in the home, like whether the PG or hostel or something like that, but in some kind of home, a building. Each building is having address, and we can identify different building using these addresses. Same way, whenever you are storing data inside your computer, it is given unique address in order to access that particular data, right? So, pointer is a concept based on this theory of addresses. What are the operations? What are the phenomena and programs that we can implement using pointer? How easy it is to use pointer, and how pointers make program easy. We are going to learn about all of this thing in this chapter. We are going to use pointers with arrays as well, with string as well, right? So with functions as well. So make sure that all of these concepts are clear before you go through pointers. We are going to see that which kind of operation cannot be performed with pointer. What are the limitations of pointer? we are going to study all of this in detail in this chapter. Then after, as you can see the title, that is structure. Now from this onward, we are using mixed examples. Structure is nothing but some kind of mixed thing. I don't want to use the technical terms over here because I don't want to confuse you with so many terms. But structure includes arrays, it includes strings, it includes functions, it includes pointers as well. So make sure that all of the above concepts are clear with you before you go through the structures. We are going to talk about unions. I'm going to tell you that how structure is stored inside your computer, what is the difference between structure and union. I'm going to talk about all of this in this chapter. We are going to perform so many programs as well. Then after, as you can see on the screen, the next chapter is all about dynamic memory allocation. What are the inbuilt functions, what are the terms which is used if I want to give memory to user, if I want to take memory from CPU as a user. This all things and how you can implement that terms in your program. We are going to talk about all of this in this chapter. And the last but not the least, the last chapter is all about file management. See, files are really very important because you all deal with text file, doc files and all of that. What if I want to open the file not by clicking the mouse, but I want to open it with the help of code? What if I want to add some lines in my file not by typing on keyboard, but by writing a code? What if I want to print my program itself in a file? What if I want to delete? What if I want to close the file? All of this operation can be used or obtained using programming. And how we can obtain this using C programming, we are going to see that in the chapter. And make sure that you understand the concepts very well. Why? Because file management is very important in terms of database, in terms of other programming language. You are going to use this in all programming language. In next semester, when you are going to use Python or something like that programming language, you are going to use files. So make sure that you understand the core concepts of file management system in detail. So this is all about the course content. Meanwhile, in this video, I have talked about the higher semester subjects, that is COA, algorithm and all of that. That was related to IT, ICT and computer branch, that is the computer science branch, because they are going to study these subjects in higher semester. But what about the other branches? What about electronics people or like say electrical people, IC people, or what about the hard branch students? So make sure that you are studying this subject for the sake of interest. Why? Because even if you are studying in a mechanical engineering, mechanical people nowadays go for the specialization in robotics also. In that specialization, if you have some deeper understanding and if your basics are clear for the logical part of programming, then you can go further with ease. So make sure that you give some interest and not study this subject for the sake of marks. Even for the soft branch student or the hard branch student, programming will never hurt you. It will just increase your logical power. So make sure that you understand this subject very well, your basics are clear, and you can utilize the knowledge of this particular chapters in your further academics. Thank you so much.